Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to look at the first half of the solo in Alive by Pearl Jam. So this is a long solo, so I'm going to break it up into two parts. About 2 minutes long total on the actual recording. So this is about the first minute of it, where I just stopped there. And the next lesson we'll take a look at the second half. Alright, so very blues based. It's got a lot of kind of common blues licks in it, but it just seems to keep going and going and going. So it's really fun to play. So let's start here. We're in standard tuning, just like the rest of the song we've already taught. So let's start with this first phrase here. All right, so we're going to do a whole step, bend and release at the 15th fret on the B, followed by 12 at the B. Then a whole step bend and release at the 14th fret on the G, down to the 12th on the G. Resolve it down here to the 14th fret on the D string. Alright, from there, so that's 12 on the G, 14 on the D. So we have this, then 12 twice on the G. Pull off 14 to 12, back to that 14 on the D, back to the 12 on the G. Alright, then we're going to do some bends at the 14th fret on the G string. Just release that last bend. Just 12, 14, 12. Alright, next phrase. Alright, so we're going to start here with another common blues lick. We're going to start with a bend at the 14th fret on the G string into a roll from the 12th on the B to the 12th on the high E. Back to that 12 on the B, and then do a whole step bend at the 15th fret on the B. Then we have a quick little descending lick. So we have this. So you're going to start with the 12 on the high E, pull off from the 15 to 12 on the B, to the 14 on the G, back to the 12 on the B. Then you're going to do a bend at the 14th fret on the G. You're going to bend and release, pull off, and then back to that the 14, and then you're just going to end it with these three notes: 12, 14, 12. So a lot of that was just on the G string. So we have this. Alright, and then we're going to do that little descending thing. So that's just 14, 12 on the D. And then a blues scale here. We're 14, 13, 12 on the A. Down to 10. Back to 12. Back to 10. And then back to 12. And then bend it up a whole step. So we have this. Now there's a lot of wah pedal in here. I don't have a wah pedal hooked up or anything, so this is really, it's pretty obvious when he kicks in the wah pedal, so you're going to hear a lot of that kind of going with it, especially on this part where he does a bend. We have this bend right here. Alright, so you hear the open strings real quick, and then you do a real kind of violent vibrato on the 17th fret on the B string, a whole step bend. Do that, and then come over and do the same thing on the 17th fret on the high E string. So we have this. And then you're going to do the bend again on the 17 on the high E and release it to 15 on the high E to 17 on the B. Alright, and then we have this little lick. So that's kind of a little bit different. So we're going to be sliding from 14 to 16 on the G. And then play 15, 17 on the B. And then do a bend at the 16th on the G. I'm sorry. And then you're going to play 15 on the high E, 17 on the B, and then do a quick slide from 16 down to 14 on the G. Pull off to 12 and then play 14, 12 again. So I'll play that lick real slow because it's kind of unique. It's kind of odd sounding. So it does this. All right, next section. All right, so that is kind of, you can really hear him digging in on that one. A lot of wah pedal on that. Just playing the second fret on the G string, bending it up. Then do it again, and release the bend, and then pick an open string. The open G, then all right, so that's sliding 2 to 4 on the G, then 3, 0, 3 on the B, and then 0, 3, 0, 3 on the high E into a bend at the 5th fret. So this. All right, next phrase. All right, so we have kind of a little bit of the same thing. We're going to start with the bend, and then play 2, 0, and then we're going to slide into that 4th fret again. Pick 3 twice, back to 4 on the G. And play 5, 3 on the B, back to the 4 on the G, and back to the 3 on the B. So far. Then move this up to the 5th fret for 1 whole beat, and then you're going to play 5 again on the B, 5, 7, 5 on the high E. And then you can do a quick bend and release at the 5th fret on the high E. I shifted down to my 3rd finger there, because you're going to pull off to 3. Then pick 5, 3 again, over to 5 on the B string. Now, when it gets to this section of the song, it really drops a lot lower in the mix. So it's kind of harder to hear these notes because the vocals came back in. So you can really, there's an audible difference. And then the solo comes back in at these unison bends we're going to be doing in a second. I mean, it starts getting picked back up and raised back up in the mix. So we have this so far. Now from here, you're going to go. All right, so we have, that's leading us into those unison bends. So we have this. So the only says this part is really low in the mix, but when I'm picking up, it's kind of something like this. We have the 5th fret on the B string with a high E string open, and then 7, 8, 7 with that high E string ringing with it. Then play that 7, 8, 7 again, and then back to the 5th fret. So this. All right, so that high E string was ringing that entire time with that. The whole time, you're gonna have that high E string with it. And then into this unison bend here at the 12th fret on the B, and you can be bending the 14th fret on the G string to match it. So do that a couple times. And then we start the unison bends, which when everything gets picked back up in the mix. Sounds like this. All right, so let me just show you this unison bend concept real quick. We're going to be 12th fret on the high E, and then 15 on the B. You can pick those together, and when you bend the 15th fret up a whole step, it matches in pitch, so it becomes a unison bend. So what he's doing is he's doing the bend, and while he's holding that, he's picking the note on the top string. And you're kind of doing that at the 12th fret, and then 15, and then 14, and back to 12. Again, back to 15. All right, so how he gets into that sometimes, if you can hear the, he'll pick the note on the high E string sometimes, you know, before he does that bend. So you just kind of pick up that a little bit. So leaving that, we have 12 on the high E string, pull off 15 to 12 on the high E, back to 15 on the B, and then 12, 15, 12, and then pick that 15 again, do a bend, and then release the bend, and just pick 15 normal. So we have this. All right, there's a little bit of a slide there. And then we have this next phrase. All right, so that's similar. We have this bend at the 15 on the high E. Back to 15. That's 12, 15, 12 twice. All right, then a bend to the 15 on the B. Back to the 12 on the high string. Pull off 15 to 12 there on the B. And then bend to the 14 on the G. Back to 12 on the B. And back to the bend. All right, so when we get in this next measure, kind of got a Stevie Ray Vaughan thing going here. So we have this bend and release of the 14, 12 on the G, to 14 on the D, and then 12, 14, 12, 14. This kind of stuff is kind of hard to memorize because it's very similar stuff. So we have this. And then you're going to play the double stop here, the 14th fret across the B and the G, and the 12th fret as well. And hit that a couple times before we go to this next lick. So all together for that one phrase, I'm just playing through it pretty slow. Here we go. And the next lick that we're going to end this video with is sticks out pretty much in the solo. It's kind of the flashy part of the solo. It sounds like this. All right, so he's just repeating the same lick again and again. Common blues lick. You're going to be doing a bend at the 14th fret on the G, and then play the 12th fret on the high E string, and then you're going to pull off 15 to 12 on the B. So we have this. Just repeat that lick. All right, so that takes us to the second half of the solo, which we'll take a look at in the next lesson.